Hello students, myself Raminder Kaur. This is a second video lecture of chapter number 16, Digestion and Absorption. As in the first video, we have studied about the alimentary canal, that it is made up of various parts starting from mouth, buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus and stomach, and then followed by small and large intestine, and ultimately ends up in rectum and anus. Today we will study about different layers of the alimentary canal which are going to help in various kind of secretions and digestion of the food that we intake. So our alimentary canal starting from the esophagus consists of 4 layers. The outer one is called as serosa. So this picture is very important. The outermost layer is called as serosa. Second layer is called muscularis. Muscularis is formed of 2 layers, inner circular and outer longitudinal cells. Third layer is called as submucosa and last layer is called as mucosa. These layers can help in providing protection, and even they secrete some substances like digestive enzymes or mucus which can help in easy flow of food through lumen. So this transfer section of gut is very important. Let's study all of these one by one. Number 1 is serosa, that is outermost, and it is made up of mesothelium. It is mostly present in the visceral organs. Visceral organs are those which are very delicate organs that contain blood, that contain connective tissues in them. Number 2 is muscularis. So as already told, it is made up of inner circular and outer longitudinal layer. So the submucosal layer, it is formed of very loose connective tissue that can be nerves, blood or the lymph vessels. Duodenum is the very first beginning part of small intestine. So all the glands of small intestine are present in this portion called as submucosa. As we say, the gastric gland in the stomach, they secrete hydrochloric acid, they secrete pepsin and mucus. So inside the stomach, there are no glands, but all those glands are present in this layer. Number 4, the very innermost layer, that is called as mucosa. It has various kinds of folds in it. Why the folds are important? Because they increase the surface area, and in small intestine we call them as villi. You can see figure 16.5. The villi are those structures which increase the surface area, and they are connected with the blood vessels so that the food that is got digested in our digestive system can easily get absorbed by our blood, so that body can make up energy instantaneously. Mucosal epithelium, it has special kind of cells called as goblet cells, and they secrete mucus which can provide lubrication. So mucus is similar like a grease. So it can help in lubrication so that easily food can move from one place to another. Various kind of glands, as already told, gastric glands are also present in mucosal layer, and even the villi of the intestine, they have crypts. These crypts of Lieberkühn, they are also helping in secretion of various kind of substances. Then we come to the next very important topic called as digestive glands, without which the digestion is impossible. Suppose we have to break down the complex substances into simpler substances without the help of enzyme. It is not possible at all. So enzymes are those proteinaceous substances which never undergo any reaction. They remain same, but they are increasing the speed of the reaction. The reactants, they are converted into the products with the help of the enzymes, but enzymes are not used up in the reaction. So let's start with the first gland called as salivary glands. There are 3 pairs of salivary glands, starting with number 1, parotids, that are present in the cheek. Number 2, submaxillary or submandibular, they are present in lower jaw. And the number 3, which are present below the tongue, called as sublinguals. All of these are secreting the same thing called as saliva or salivary juice that contains salivary amylase in it. The another name of salivary amylase is ptyalin. Ptyalin. L-I-N. Saliva helps in breakdown of sugar and converts into maltose that we are going to study in the next video lecture. Now let's start with the second gland, that is the largest gland of human body, called as liver. It is situated in abdominal cavity and it has two lobules called as hepatic lobules. They are the major functional units which are secreting bile. So hepatic cells which are making these hepatic lobules. They have thin connective tissue in them that is called as Glissen's capsule. The bile which is secreted by hepatic cells is very important. It passes through the hepatic duct. So let's read from here this picture. So we have studied the liver. It consists of hepatic lobules, and hepatic lobules, they are having the hepatic cells which will secrete the bile. So can you see green colored ducts? Yes. These are the ducts which are coming from the liver and bringing up the bile, which we also called as common hepatic duct. And gallbladder is the organ which helps in storage of bile. These days, due to sedentary lifestyle, certain kind of changes in our diet, it has been seen that people are suffering from stones in the gallbladder. So doctor can easily advise that no need to take out stones from the gallbladder. We will just do a surgical operation and we will take out the whole gallbladder outside. So what does it mean that gallbladder does not play any important role in human body? No, it is playing important role only for the storage of the bile which is made by the hepatic cells of the liver. But ultimately that fat which is going to be digested with the help of bile, so people are advised by the doctor that they should intake the fats in very less amount. So the gallbladder is playing only single role only for the storage of the bile. You can see bile duct and the pancreatic duct, they together open in the first portion of small intestine called as duodenum. And here also one sphincter is present which is called as sphincter of Oddi. These important terms you have to keep in mind. Sphincters are those muscles which can prevent the flow of food from one organ to the another. So if we look here, pancreas is the third gland that act as both exocrine gland and endocrine gland. So let me clear here what are the differences between exocrine and endocrine glands. The pancreas secrete various kind of pancreatic juices which contain different enzymes such as trypsin, lipase, amylase. They are secreted by a duct called as pancreatic duct. So when pancreas play important role during digestion by secreting different enzymes through duct, it is called as exocrine gland. But when it secrete insulin and glucagon and give that secretions directly to the blood, and then blood circulate those kind of hormones throughout the body, then pancreas is called as endocrine gland. So easily you can remember, exocrine glands are duct glands and endocrine glands are ductless glands. We have only this single gland in the body which behave as both exocrine and endocrine gland. So this diagram is also very important. Now let's start the topic of digestion of food. So it is not only mechanical but a chemical process. Why it is not mechanical? Only because we have teeth that can bite, chew, grind, masticate and mix the food. But also we need different kind of chemicals which are actually enzymes that can break down the complex substances into simpler ones so that our body can easily absorb them and we can get up the energy. So buccal cavity, two organs are present, teeth and tongue. So they help in grinding of the food and they help in swallowing. The function of tongue is that it mixes the food thoroughly with the saliva. Saliva helps in lubrication. Without production of saliva in the mouth, food cannot be swallowed because it will be dry and dry food cannot go inside. So it adds up and the food that goes inside in spherical structure, we call that as bolus. Now it is going from the buccal cavity into the pharynx and ultimately into the food pipe by swallowing. So when you swallow food or when you swallow water, that is called as deglutition. Then it moves by successive contractions that we call as peristalsis, called as peristaltic movements. So there are certain sphincters which can control the passage of food into the stomach. So the saliva which is secreted not only contains salivary amylase but also one more enzyme called as lysozyme. And even it contains few of the electrolytes like sodium ion, potassium ions, chloride ions and bicarbonate ions. All of these are helping in making osmoregulation so that the balance of salt and water should be maintained in the body. Then from here, the chemical process of digestion starts, by which these kind of enzyme like salivary amylase and lysozyme, they break down the food into simpler substances. In our mouth, 30% of starch gets digested and converted into maltose, and lysozyme that is also present in our tears. Lysozyme is the enzyme which is also present in both saliva and the tears, and it prevents any kind of bacterial infection. So the pH required in our mouth is 6.8. And now coming to the layers of the stomach, we have already studied that mucosa layer contain gastric glands. It secretes three things that has already been studied in life processes chapter of class 10th. Number 1, mucus, cells that secrete mucus. Number 2, peptic cells that secrete pepsinogen. Remember this thing, in class 10th you have studied pepsin, but now I am saying pepsinogen because this pepsinogen is going to convert into pepsin. Pepsinogen is inactive form of the enzyme, that's why it is called proenzyme, and pepsin is the active form. Number 3, we have cells called as parietal or oxyntic cells that secrete hydrochloric acid, which is very essential for absorption of vitamin B12. Our stomach has a capacity to store food for 4 to 5 hours, and once it gets mixed with all the secretions of the gastric juice such as mucus, hydrochloric acid and the pepsinogen, and the food that is now formed is called as chyme. So as hydrochloric acid helps in activating the pepsinogen, so pepsinogen converts into pepsin. And what is the function of pepsin? It converts proteins into proteoses and peptones. Now what is the function of mucus? If hydrochloric acid is there at such a acidic pH 1.8, how can our stomach layers be protected from the action of acid? This is done by the mucus. So mucus provides lubrication and it protects the inner epithelium layers of mucosa from burning or any other activity of such concentrated hydrochloric acid. In children, those who are infants, those who are only drinking milk, they have a special enzyme called as renin, which helps in digestion of milk proteins only. Small amount of lipases are also secreted by gastric gland. Now the food has reached from the stomach into the beginning portion of the duodenum of small intestine. So certain kind of muscular movements help them to move further. So once the food get mixed with the secretions of the enzymes of small intestine, here the bile which is secreted by the hepatic cells of the liver and the juices of pancreas and intestinal juices, they all come and mix in the small intestine and they start their action on the food. So they are released through a common pathway called as hepatopancreatic duct. There are 3 enzymes which are present in pancreatic juice: trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen and procarboxypeptidases, along with amylases, lipases and nucleases. So you have to learn total 6 enzymes which are present in a pancreatic juice. As we have studied, pepsinogen is inactive form of enzyme. Similarly, trypsinogen is also inactive. So who is going to activate here? HCl has activated pepsinogen, but here one special enzyme that is secreted by intestinal mucosa, enterokinase. I am repeating, enterokinase will convert inactive trypsinogen into active trypsin, which will now act upon the food. Now, what are the functions of bile? Do bile contain any enzyme? Answer is no. Bile does not contain any enzyme, but it has few pigments, salt, cholesterol, and phospholipids. If I talk about the two kind of pigments present in the bile which play very important role, number one is called bilirubin and number second is biliverdin. Bilirubin provide yellow color to the urine. The urine is yellow in color because of bilirubin. You must have seen the people who are suffering from jaundice, that is called pilia. So their eyes, their face, their skin started showing yellowishness, and it is due to excessive secretion of bilirubin because their liver start showing dysfunctioning symptoms. So bilirubin is secreted in higher amount and it start appearing in eyes, and the urine also become very dark yellow in color. Number second pigment that is present in bile is biliverdin. This is the pigment which gives color to the fecal matter, the waste of our body. Number second thing that is present, bile salt. What are the functions of these bile salt? The bile salts help in breakdown of complex molecules of fats into very small pieces, which we call emulsification of fats. Even bile has a capacity to activate lipases, and lipases are those enzymes which can easily break down the fat molecules. Cholesterol and phospholipids are also present in bile. Now let's come to the intestinal epithelium, which has goblet cells that are secreting mucus, and these secretions along with the secretions of mucosa, they make intestinal juice or succus entericus. It has so many kind of enzymes such as disaccharidases, dipeptidases, lipases, nucleosidases, etc. One thing which you can see common in all enzymes that they are ending with ases. Trypsinogen or pepsinogen, they are not ending with ases, but ultimately all enzymes will end in the ases form. So the mucus which is secreted from these cells, it will protect the inner lining of intestine, and even it will provide alkaline medium of pH 7.8 so that fats can easily get digested. The submucosal glands, they are called as Brunner's gland, are also helping in maintaining this alkaline medium. Thank you, students.